might have known him or seen him. He is in person of Mr. Oronto Douglas. Mr. Oronto Douglas is studying environmental law. And some of you must have seen the program, Wall in Action. Wall in Action tells us about the environmental decay in the Niger Delta. I'd like everyone to please, at this time, give him all your attention as he comes to give this maiden speech. I'd like you all to give Oronto Douglas a hand of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're very thirsty with Germans.
There's nothing I'm going to say this evening that most of you who are from IJAW land don't know or have seen. Whatever I'm going to say here is perhaps a reminder of the misery, of the poverty, of the injustice and the oppression that is going on back home in the Niger Delta. Most of you from there, apart from the young ones who came here to remind us of our slavery, apart from the young ones that were born here, those of you who were born at home and grew up at home or have been visiting and have seen what is going on, know exactly what I'm going to say. But for those, our invited guests, our visitors, and those who have a conscience and who sympathize with us and about our plight, perhaps is going to be something new. The Niger Delta today is the focus of attention worldwide. The problem is not only about pollution that the children portray, it is also about oppression and injustice. Whether you like it or not, if you are from the Delta, you are a slave. I am a slave in the Delta. As somebody who is from there, I can categorically tell you that despite my education, despite my exposure, I am still a slave to injustice, a slave to oppression, a slave to the indignity that we people of the Niger Delta have been visited. Today, we are a slave, and I'm challenging you, I'm provoking you to break that chain and shackle of injustice that have tied you to the system. If you say you are in Europe, you are here, and that you are not a slave, then you are living in a fool's paradise. You should know that as you wake up every day, and as you send 10 pounds or 20 pounds to your people at home, you are indirectly a slave to the system. Why should you send 10 pounds or 20 pounds? You are sending it because you don't want those people to die. Why should you send 20 pounds or 30 pounds or 50 pounds when those people in the Delta live in a land that is the richest part of Nigeria? They live in an ecosystem that is supposed not only to feed the whole of Nigeria, but to feed a substantial part of Africa. But you are sending money here, struggling here, despite the terrible system that you find yourself with all sorts of circumstances, you still send money home. Why should you send money home? Why can't you do something? Given the privilege and opportunity that you have. I had the opportunity of traveling around the Delta, and I saw poverty from Okrika right down to Arogo, from Arogo to Okubri, right down to Pula in Kalabari Kingdom to Nembe. What did I find? I find that the people there can no longer survive. They are dying in their thousands, and it's going to be worse. What you see in the Ogoni that is being replaced with brutality and oppression will be visited on you, except you do something, except you stand up and say, I can no longer accept what is going on in the system. When the MC was talking, he said, look, we are the fourth largest tribe. Fourth largest tribe, and you cannot use your clout to do something, but it is not a question of largeness. It's a question of how you use the privileges and opportunity that Europe has presented to help fight against the system. If you look at the question of pollution, it is not only oil pollution, like the children try to portray. If you go to Nigeria, as I have been there and I live there. If you go there, if you travel from Kano right down to Lokoja and down, you see a lot of industries that produce leather. They use a lot of chemicals. All the chemicals are poured into the river. They now wash down right down to the delta and kill all the fish and destroy the ecosystem. It is a combination of other factors as well. Dams are being built, and when dams are built up not to produce food, the result is that most of the sediment flows and everything that is supposed to come down to the delta no longer comes. If you live in the delta, you will know that one of the greatest sources of fish is from ponds. Now today, those ponds are no longer getting fish. The fish dams are no longer producing. The land is no longer productive. You plant a crop, the crop don't grow. And we sit down here in Europe and we are here gathered and we send 10 pounds, 20 pounds. How long can you send 10 pounds, 20 pounds? For how long? When those people in the delta, they live in the richest part of the country. They are supposed to be kings and queens. They are supposed to be rich. You are supposed to be living there, coming on holiday if you like to this place. But what do you find? You have become an economic refugee in a country that you do not have the privileges and rights, when you can be in the delta and exercise those privileges and rights. My challenge to you today is to look at the issues very critically. The issue goes beyond oil pollution and production. It goes to the question of injustice and oppression. It goes to how power is shared. Are you as an IJAW man participating in the decision-making process of that country? You are not. What the ruling elites normally do, and it is a clique, they just look for certain persons and appoint them as appointment and say they have made sure that everything is going on. But what do you find? You find that your children can no longer go to school there in the delta, and you know our traditional extended family system. What can we do now? The challenge is before us. We should stand up and say we can no longer accept the status quo. The way the Nigerian Federation is organized does not help us at all. It does not help us. The arrangement of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, was fashioned by the British. They came in 1860. In the 1860s, brought all of us together. There was no discussion as to whether we really want to be in that federation. We cannot belong to a federation that oppresses you, a federation that makes you a slave, a federation that takes away all your resources and pollutes your land and makes you poor and make you a remittance person sending 10 pounds and 20 pounds. The 10 pounds and 20 pounds culture must stop. And you can only stop that if you say, I can no longer participate in the unholy alliance, and I can only participate in an alliance where my culture can be protected. Today, if you go to Nigeria, if you send your child to Nigeria, just try it. I'm talking to the women now, and they go to school. They are forced to study Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. Now, when I was watching the women dance, I was watching them sing the culture and tradition. It's beautiful, but they want our culture and our tradition to die. They don't want the IJAW language to be taught in any school at all. Is that the kind of unity we want? Why should they force all this thing on us? The challenge is on you that your culture must not die. The challenge is on you that you should not die of poverty. The challenge is on you that your environment must not be destroyed by multinational, by collaborators and the elitist politicians. That is the challenge. We can no longer accept what is going on, and that is the message that must go right down. The Nigerian Federation must recognize our diversity, must recognize our culture, must recognize our resources and our environment and protect it. And that is what we are saying. We must come together, and that is the message of tonight. Unity in diversity with a united front. I was telling a friend that maybe the IJAWs are not organized because their hibernation, their silence is a covert operation for an overt act. Something that is going to be positive, something that is going to be good for future generations. The British built this system that we are enjoying today. They built it 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Why can't you sacrifice now and build for your children? That is the challenge of the moment. Are you going to join forces to break down injustice? Are you going to join forces and break down oppression in Nigeria? Are you going to fight and get back your resources, your land? Are you going to condemn military decrees and military dictatorship? Are you going to fight for your children so that your children do not become a slave? Thank you very much for listening to me. I thank you. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Mr. Ronald Douglas. Thank you very much. That was a powerful speech. That was inspiring and that was motivating. Some of us that come here today, it's not just all drink and merriment. This is a place where we have to rethink and put things into perspective. Thank you very much. At this time again, I'll still want to make another apology. The music system is down on the program, on the item. It says dance, dance, dance. This is the time for most of us to shake our bodies, and please feel free and ask whatever you want as we spend the next 5 minutes refreshing. Thank you very much. Nonetheless, I promised you that by the end of the occasion, you will hear stories. Stories that will make you cry, stories that will make you renounce all your privileges and stand up to fight for those who are dying. I am calling upon the chairman of the committee that organized today, based in person of Mr. Ken Baba, to address you on the development of Federation of IJAW Community. Thank you, Mr. Ken Baba.
Gentlemen, Ken Baba is right now on his feet, and I would like you all to listen to me, because some time ago, 3 years ago, if I may remember very well, I promised you I'll come back and I'll talk to you and I'll remind you of a pledge that members of the Federation of IJAW Communities pledged to you as regards the development of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1993, if you could remember, we had just 4 or 5 communities within that organization called the Federation of IJAW Communities. Now, if we were not doing our job properly, I believe we should have been just either one or we shouldn't have existed at all. But if you look around you, we have banners on the wall to prove that within 3 years, the organization has grown from 4 or 5 to almost, I would say, 15 clans. I would have loved to hear a round of applause. If I'm telling you the truth, please applaud. I will accept that. But if I'm lying, come out and tell me, Kenny, you're lying. And I will also accept it. I'm standing before you because today's occasion, honestly, should not be one where you expect to eat, drink, and dance. But that is exactly how Federation of IJAW Community would want it to be. We want you to eat because our children have just told us that they are hungry. And I'm sure we have given you to eat. If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Clap for me, please. I'm sure we have also given you to drink because our children have told us that they are thirsty. But we want you to believe that the Niger Delta people, the IJAW people, the goose that lays the golden egg, I'm sure you believe that. Don't you? You don't believe that you're the goose that lays the golden egg? Then if you don't, why do we have Survival International in here today? Why do we have WDM in here today? Why do we have you all in here to come and listen to exactly what the Federation of IJAW Communities want to say to you? Ladies and gentlemen, we have moved away from the Federation of IJAW Communities stand to a bigger stand where a trust, a full charity status has been launched today. This full charity status is one that is going to move us from where we are now to the next stage. I don't want to bore you. I've only just taken the opportunity to come on the phone because the PA system has got a slight problem. But the time will come within the next few minutes when you will have to show us that you believe in the trust. You believe in that charity trust that the Federation of IJAW Communities have managed to register in order to give us this ammunition that will make us move from the present position to the next position. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're called upon, I hope you will donate handsomely. We don't have any intention of calling names. The envelopes have been given to you. If we want to start calling each and every one of you here today, it means we might be here till 2 o'clock. But we plead with you, bear with us. If you want your donation called, we will do so. But when the ushers and the ushers start walking around with the tray, kindly fill in your checks, made out to, please, listen carefully, made out to Federation of IJAW Communities. I repeat, Federation of IJAW Communities. That's the only thing I'll have to say to you. If you're not very sure, before you fill in the checks, please raise your hands and somebody will come by you. So before we get into that, I will plead with you, please pick up your envelopes and start digging deep and fill them up. And God will bless you. Thank you very much. Call the chairman of today's occasion to come forward and say a few words to you before we start off with the donation. Thank you very much. So please get your envelopes out and get yourself ready while we call on Dr. Adekibi to come and talk to you. Dr. Adekibi, please. Round of applause for him, the chairman of today's occasion. He is also one of our patrons and also one of our consultants. Thank you very much. You alone, Dr. Adekibi, I hope you can handle this.
Your worshipful Mr. Deputy Mayor, distinguished guests, our beloved children, brothers and sisters. Your program shows that I was to talk on an item earlier in the day. But as I was taught in school, the only thing that does not work in life is a strategic plan. Circumstances have forced me to play a dual role, and in the instance, I have decided to drop one of the roles. As Ken Baba told you, hello? As you have been told, in September 1993, the Federation of IJAW Communities of Britain and Ireland organized a successful seminar. In that seminar, they promised that they will come back to show the amount of progress and achievements made, and here we are to see those achievements realized. We express our appreciation for the efforts of the FEDICAM and hope for more progress in the future. I wouldn't keep you long, but I would not do a good service to my conscience if I fail to draw your attention to a few points that have arisen. We do realize the problems that the IJAW communities face in Nigeria. But then, we would equally not shift the blame entirely to external forces. For our history shows that until recently, in the IJAW area, the well-known old saying that charity begins at home does not occur in IJAW land. In fact, we the IJAWs believe that charity begins abroad. In this respect, we have inadvertently assisted in the current problems that bewitch us. I would give you a little bit of historical evidence to support the fact that until recently, for us, the IJAW people, charity begins abroad. If you recall, in the 1950s and 60s, while Chief Harold Dapabirie was busy assembling IJAW men and women to a focal point under the umbrella of the Niger Delta Congress, some other IJAWs are very busy demonstrating their culture of charity beginning abroad. The Okrikans, Bonis and Opobos, and of course I am from Okrika, were busy voting Kaladakari as an NCNC candidate, while the Calabares were busy voting Winiki Briggs as an action group candidate. The NDC ended up having no seats in these areas except Milford Okilo, who was the only representative. For the IJAW people, therefore, charity begins abroad. In 1964, Azaka Borough, whom you all know, or perhaps most have heard of, took the federal government to court. The overt reason for that action was the 1964 election, but the hidden agenda was to advertise and create awareness about the plight of the IJAW community. Unfortunately, the devil that bewitching the IJAWs also trailed Azaka Borough, and of course, he had no support from the IJAWs. Charity for us begins abroad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have before us here another focal point, which is the FEDICAM. The FEDICAM was launched in November 1991, and through its short existence has achieved quite enormous successes that one should doff his heart for them. The FEDICAM has represented the IJAW community in international gatherings as well as internal gatherings in the UK. Essentially, the FEDICAM aims at creating awareness among the IJAW people, Nigeria and the world at large about the circumstances of the IJAW people in Nigeria. It also aims at establishing an identity for the IJAW people. It aims at unifying the IJAW people into a common action group and provide a vehicle for engineering development and progress in the IJAW community. For all these, we do need the support of the IJAW people, particularly now that with the creation of states in 1967, the IJAWs have come to realize their identity and the need to work together. FEDICOM has achieved a lot, and among the major achievements of FEDICOM is the establishment of the IJAW Community Trust Limited. Today, FEDICOM launches that community trust, which is the operational arm of the FEDICOM. The trust is a wholly owned subsidiary of the FEDICOM, and it is entrusted with the responsibility of raising funds and distributing, allocating the fund to proper channels of operation. It is this trust that we are here today to launch through donations, contributions, and efforts to ensure that FEDICOM performs its noble duties. If we now believe that charity amongst the IJAWs does not begin abroad, rather begins at home, then as the chairman of the occasion, I shall be watching very carefully to see a demonstration of that new belief through your donation and your effort to fill the place. I will not take you very far, but then it would be necessary for us to also advise the FEDICOM organization that while we dip our hands deep into our pockets, we also expect in return responsibility and disciplined approach to the operations of the organization. We expect accountability, and we also expect pressure to be mounted, but non-violent, non-secessionist, non-antagonistic pressure. I will conclude, therefore, by appealing to you all to please donate generously, to come out and show your involvement in the fight to create awareness about the IJAW people. I have to believe that the time has come for us to come out and donate. Very much against my principles, but individual principles are generally overridden by group principles. Democracy, they call it. Because of that, I shall take the first leap by announcing, again, remember it's against my principle, my token donation towards the fund. I shall make it very high so that you on the floor will be able to double it, triple it, and please, as soon as you double it, ask me as the chairman to announce it myself. Don't allow any other person to cover it. Pass a piece of paper to me to announce it, provided you double what I shall offer or triple it. If you do not, then don't call me. I shall therefore humbly donate £2,000